a baseline. We started with a simple orientation of who we are, ourselves, and who we are in the face of God. And in some ways it seems so simple that we are known and loved, that I'm a child of God, that I was created good, that I was created for eternity, that I was created to express the glory that is my God. I mean, you're thinking, well, I drove 6 hours from Montreal, and that's all you got for me, kind of thing. And I think that's a natural inclination, is to almost say, well, there's got to be something more. But remember, it's not so much the idea, it's how you live in that idea. How effectively you express it, how consistently you know that. If I caught you on a bad day, and something had gone wrong, you backed your car into somebody, or you made a mistake at work, or you came up short somewhere, and I could hear the thoughts in your head, would it reflect what I just spoke? I'm loved, I'm a child of God, I have meaning and purpose just in my being? Probably not. Most of us are self-accusing. We'd say, I'm terrible, I blew it, I'm an idiot. If I asked you to list 10 things that you were particularly gifted at, you'd probably resist it. What if I told you to list 10 things that you were bad at? No problem. Only 10? Top 10? What do you want? You know, it tells us that there's something going on there. Now, we're going to continue that as a base because we really do need to remember that. We're not trying to earn this. We have this. This is what we're made to be. But if we are created in the likeness of God, and if we share that glory, and if it's our kind of destiny, as Father John was saying, is to reflect that and to give that back to God in our freedom, why is it so hard? Shouldn't it be easy? Shouldn't it be natural? Shouldn't it be simple? Well, in our better moments, I think it is. But there are reasons that it's difficult for us to live this out on a daily basis. Now, has anyone ever heard of the word sin? I'm going to do a little poll here. Has anyone here ever said or done or not said or not done something that they now regret in their life? Yeah, I like to do this once in a while, just see if our Blessed Mother's here, because she's the only one to keep her hands down. Like, we've all fallen short of the glory of God. We've all sinned in some way. And as soon as I say the word sin, usually we jump right to the word guilt. You know, again, going back to what I just said, I'm bad, I screwed up, I'm not very good, God couldn't love me. And that's not it. We need to talk about sin maybe in a slightly different context. I don't know if you ever heard of the organization Net Ministries, National Evangelization Team. I always like kind of their definition of sin. They talk about an archer missing the mark. Do you have any golfers here? Anybody play golf? This is not going to work. Okay. Have you ever heard of the game golf? All right, thank you. You ever heard of a hole-in-one? Okay, how many holes are there in golf in a game? 18. Good, we're getting there. This is good. I'm doing better than I thought I was going to be. What's the best score you could ever get in golf? 18. 18 holes in one game. Has anyone ever shot an 18? Will anyone ever shoot an 18? No, it's not possible. So again, the sense of perfection, it's an illusion. All have fallen short of the glory of God. That in our freedom and our expression of that goodness, we're not going to get it 100%. Now, I'm fairly conscious of the fact, as I look at all of you, that there might be some people in this room who do get 100% on a lot of tests. God bless you. That wasn't me. But in this test, all have fallen short. Now, why is that? Well, to kind of explain this, there's a lot of ways we could say this, but again, it's a bit like I mentioned this morning. Sometimes in life, like, we're born into life and we kind of are children, and at a certain point we become more aware. It's like entering into a movie halfway through sometimes. But there's a lot of ways of expressing this that people, as reflected on it, have said, well, there's something called the fall. Do you know the effects of the fall? No one's ever laid this. You can say it a lot of different ways, but there's sort of 3 distinct things that are connected to the fall from grace. The first is a dulled intellect. We're not as smart as we think we are. The second effect of the fall is disordered passions. We tend to be attracted to things that aren't always in our best interest, and a weakened will. Our capacity to say no to some of those things is not as strong as we would like it to be. So what did I just tell you? You're probably not as smart as you think you are. At least not, maybe in physics, maybe in other areas, but in sort of almost the equation of what's commonly called emotional IQ. We're not as clever as we really think we are. We're into things that we probably shouldn't be into. And even if you wanted to stop, even if you could somehow understand it was in your best interest to stop, you probably wouldn't be able to. Now, what are you thinking right now? Well, thanks a lot, Father. Jerk. Kind of almost like that, isn't it? It's insulting. I walk up to somebody on the street and say, "You're not that smart, you know." Yeah. Can I see where you've been Googling? Like, you want to stop? Can't do it, right? Yeah. That's like, again, like that's insulting in a certain context, and it is, I suppose. Maybe not very politically correct. Here's another entire way of seeing that. Take another breath. Let it out. I thought it was just me. I thought I was the only one. I thought I was the only person in this room that didn't get it right. That finds himself doing stuff I just wish I wasn't doing. And even when I try, I can't seem to stop. Let's go back to that survey again. Who has said or done something that they wish they hadn't said or done? Okay, you're in good company. There's a certain morality to the things that we do, and I'm not trying to take away from that. There is right and wrong. Those things exist, and there's a moral teaching. But when it comes to fallen human nature, don't be so quick to jump right into morality. I should not have done that. Sometimes it's good to put it into another category. This is part of what it is to be human. That we do struggle. That everyone falls. That we're not expected to be perfect. You weren't created to be that. That's an angelic being, and even they have problems. That's another talk, another time. If they didn't get it right, how are we ever going to get it perfect? So it's not so much about getting it perfect. It's acknowledging the reality of my situation and then applying that principle to the best of my ability in the situation that I'm in. Is there any there's no Americans here, are there? Any Americans? Good. I feel better about that. Because I'm going to speak with an American accent, and it's going to offend somebody. So I didn't know, just as well as no Americans in the room. There's a guy I remember seeing at a talk one time. It was a leadership talk. John Maxwell. He's an older guy. He was an evangelical minister, and he does a lot of motivational speaking, and he does efficiency talks. And he's one of those guys. He's a little bit older, and he walks out on this stage, and there's like 7,000 people in this auditorium, and about another 150,000 watching it on stream. He doesn't say much. Everybody goes quiet. It's kind of quiet for him. And he looks out at the audience. He says, "My dear people." This only works with like a little bit of a Tennessee accent. I don't know why, but it was better. He said, "My dear people, everything in life that is good and true and lasting is somewhere up there. Sadly, I seem to be made to roll downhill." But isn't that it? Everything in this life that is meaningful, lasting, and true is going to take effort. And it's somewhere up there. And it's going to cause you to climb, and it's going to cause you to work, and there are going to be days when it's frustrating. And yet there's something in us that's wired up in such a way that I think the best thing for me ever would be roll downhill, end up in a hammock with a drink in my hand. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. It doesn't happen. And even if it did happen, it probably wouldn't be for my greater good. The fact that it does take effort that we do try to do it, that we do make an exception, that we do push forward, is the very point of it. It is what noble and good about the human person is that we still try. I mentioned to you something about breathing this morning. I want to talk about another, actually I mentioned it already in that talk even, gravity. So gravity is this force that's trying to hold us down. It spends its whole time doing this. Like my entire life has been a fight against gravity. For me to stand up straight, to have a heartbeat, to breathe is to fight against gravity. What do we admire about people? Those who fight well, to have good posture, to dance, to move, just to be graceful. Ladies, what do you love to do? Put on heels. Twirl the hair up a little bit. Guys with the man bun? Sure, okay, whatever. I'm trying to be flexible there. But isn't that what we admire? Those who fight well. A long tee shot in golf, we'll talk about that another time. Hit a ball, like throw a football. Like this is the thing, to escape gravity just for a moment. Now eventually gravity's going to win. My heart will stop beating. I will stop breathing. I will be a puddle in the floor. Until then, I want to work against it. I want to struggle, even though I know in some ways I'm going to lose, but to do it anyway. See, that's what's noble and good. And yes, sin is part of life. We're going to miss the mark. It's a part of the reality. Where it becomes more difficult is in this terrible moment. Remember that transition I was talking about this morning from being unconditionally loved to starting to love unconditionally?